Good morning, everybody. Happy Sunday morning, and we're here today to do a nice, warm, cozy looking interior. And so this is what I'm trying to do a lot of lately is interiors because I really love doing them. And so I saw this one, and I was like, man, I got to do this one because I've done fire very well, and so this is giving me a little practice of actually doing fire inside a interior. And so the fireplace and everything. So that was the reason I started doing this one. And so let's go to our tabletop and just get going here because this is going to take a while. I have to hurry up on this one because there's a lot of stuff in here. And if you look at the picture, there's a lot of warm grays and not a real lot of bright colors. That doesn't mean I can't put them in there, but I will try to, there's not much light stuff. And so I'll have to go right away into my middle tones because there's the light of the paper, which I'm just going to basically keep white. And there's only a few places like that in the curtain outside, maybe on the floor here a little bit. But so I'm going to basically go right into my middle tones, I think, right away. And I'm trying to get my big areas done. And so let's just start out with the background. Let's try to think of the background. Let's get going. If you have any questions, just ask on the chat on the side. And if you're ever not here in the morning when I'm doing this and you want to still not chat but ask questions, you can do that in the description of the video because I get them emailed to me and then I can come to you and tell you the answer. Hopefully I know the answer. And so let's get going here. So here's my palette. This is my new palette and I still have 2 empty spots right there. So I'm still figuring out my color schemes and stuff and which colors I like. So let's just take a light grayish warm color right now. Actually, no, let's take a cool color. Let's take any cool color. Maybe a blue here. And just kind of put it into your palette and gray it up a little bit with its complement. And the reason I'm doing this is I just want to go in, and here's even a gray color. And I just want to go in here and just get like the outside. Just a real light, color that just shows that there's going to be something happening outside here, outside the window. And it's just really light. And like I said, the part of the window that is pure white of the paper, I'm just going to go around. There's no big sky, so I'm not washing anything really big right now. I'm just getting in here, getting these small little things done. I still want to try to be as large washed as possible. Large washed. Always making things up. But I try to do big areas. Mostly I try to do big areas. But on something like this, where there is no light big areas, then I can just do small little area lights. And then do the middle tones as my big, large areas. And you'll see that coming up in just a little bit. Because there's not much when it comes to the light part to be like here. There's a shadow on this curtain, and maybe some of the curtain is a little bit middle tone, but there's the light of it, and so I'm just going to get the light part of it. And I'll go back in later with the. So basically, I'm going for the light parts of the light, like the white of the paper. So I'm kind of painting around that right now. I'm getting my little shadows in there. This also has a little bit of a shadow on it. And normally, like when you're doing landscapes, you don't really do this like this small because it's usually a big, large area of the light. And here, I'm just basically getting a small section of light. So it is a little bit more detailed right away, but that's, I'm still doing my BeckerArt 3-step process where I'm doing my lights first, right? And so I'm getting that in there. Getting the shadowing in there. Here the pillow, the side of the pillow here. This whole pillow is a little bit lighter, so I'm just going to take a little bit of orange. There's a little bit of warmth coming from the fireplace. So just always remember where your light source is and what your light source is. This is half of this light source is outside light source, and half of it is the light source of the light coming from the fireplace. And so that really kind of projects a little bit of orange and things, and so I'm just going to take the orange or warm, yellowish orange parts. And I'm just going to get those lights kind of put down in the areas where they need it. where the light, this light is hitting here, and the side, and there. All lights, right? They're all light areas. A little bit of gray with the yellow, with the orange and yellow too. You know, just it's kind of neat being able to do it this way, the 3-step process, because it really works. It really, you know, you don't have to worry about your darks until you get to them. You know, I'm just getting my lights, and so they're getting the color of the lights now. And I'm also getting my color scheme, which is going to be basically orange and blue. Is basically most of it, what you see in the picture. And even if I were in this room painting it, those would be kind of the same things I would probably use. So a little bit of light here. This radiator back here is light. Well, it's actually dark, but let me just, the top of it is a little bit lighter, and so I'm putting that color of the top part in. And let's see, this pillow is a little bit, this little blanket here, I'm keeping some of it white, and then some of it in the shadow. That can be the, and those darks will come later. And I'll put that in there. And let's see what else is light. Let's see, the floor and inside here is a little bit orange inside the fireplace. I'm just going to get the light parts right now. It also, if you're afraid of the weight of the paper, which we are, and many of us are when we first start, we don't know where to start, but just putting in a light wash is not harmful. You'll never be able, you can always get darker, right? You can always get darker with things, so I'm just putting this in also to cover things up. And then the side of this wall is a little bit light. And again, I can put darks over this, so there's no problem here with it ruining it. There's a light underneath this shelf here. It's lit up a little bit underneath here. All these chairs, this chair right here is pretty light, and it's not going to paint it around, so I got to get the light in there first. Excuse me. And also these light plants. There's a lot of light plants in here, which are like light green. And so I'm just going to put a lot of these plants, the ones that are kind of close to the light areas that are going to be white. You're going to leave some of those white. Some of them will be green. Here's a little plant life over here. And just green in that area. And again, you're going to get the look when you put in the darks. The actual object will be dark, and so then this is just the light parts of those leaves. I might as well put some of these in too while I'm at it. You're looking for the light. Light, light, light. I'm not looking for darks. I'm looking to see how I can put the color down. Even this little rug here has a little bit of color, so the light part that you're seeing through there. So a little bit of color so it doesn't look just totally white. Which you could make it all white, but I like to have a little color into everything. Because really the only thing that's going to be light white is again the side coming through the window here. And some of this little powdery stuff up here will be shiny. This chair back there is dark. Everything's dark, 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 dark. Shadow underneath there is dark. So the chair is light. Gets rid of a lot of the paper white, you know, so that you're not scared of it. A little bit of light hitting the side here. This frame is kind of orangey yellow, gold basically. It's gold up there, so let's just make it a little bit gold. The painting itself will have some gold in it. Let's see, here's some yellow. Everything else is dark, 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 dark. Alright, so that's pretty much my lights, I think. This is all dark right there, right? And if you have any questions, let's see if anybody's even here. Do we have anybody watching? Oh, hey everybody. Oh, wait, it's way down there. I didn't even see it. Hey Karen, hey Sherry, hey Barbara, hey Pat. Thanks for stopping by this early Sunday morning. I always miss my favorite show, Sunday Morning, which is on Channel 2 here in CBS. Today it's all about food, and I was like, oh boy, thank God I didn't watch that because I'm really hungry. All right. All right, so there's my lights, and these little pots in here, maybe a little bit different colors in here. And the reason this is almost, if you look at it, it is kind of very gray and warm, and the grays, which are kind of warm grays, and then the window up here would be cool grays. So this is cool, and this is warm side of the painting, and so I'll keep that in mind when I'm painting with my colors. That keep this side warm, keep that side cool, and I think that'll be kind of a neat thing. All right, let's go for our bigger dark areas. And so I'm going to try to get my middle tones and my darks all at once. Like I'm going to try to get the darks, and then the lights should be dry so that they can go over it, you know, and you go over it again because you don't want, well, you can let some of it blend in. So how do I do this? Let's do the background. Let's just start from here and kind of get the top and then go down to the bottom, I think. I think that would be probably the easiest way. Always find a map for yourself and how to, what direction you're going to go in. Basically, you need to know, like, if you're starting one area, that you can get that done, and then as you're moving on, if it's a big area, how you can move on without jumping all around. Like, you don't want to jump around. You want to get one area done and kind of go in this kind of direction. And when I'm looking at my big stuff, I squint at my picture. I don't have a black and white. I didn't do a black and white of it, unfortunately. I squint my eye, and I look, and so basically, if I go this way, I'm going to start at the windowsill because this is dark and I can't go both ways. So I'm going to start at the windowsill and go up this way and just come around. And this is light, and around this way and come all the way this way. That's my plan. And so let's just start going with our darks. I'm going to start with a gray, and so I'm going to mix my gray with a violet. Take a violet here. There's a violet, and there's a little bit of black in that violet. And then I'm going to make it cool, so I add a little bit of blue. And I want enough pigment in my brush so that it does sit down, and that'll be the last of it. That'll be the last of it. I'm not going to go back into that area. So mix a little bit of it, and so it's a little bit too dark. Let's make it a little bit lighter. And start going in here, and then just get this is a middle tone. And yes, it's not a big area, but like I said, I'm doing a pattern, a way around this, and I need to follow that so that when I get to the side, I'm gonna end up here. That's what I'm gonna end up at, and so I think this will be the best right now. And behind there, it's really, really dark. So I'm adding some dark purple, admittedly it's a little brown. I'll just put a little bit of really dark back there. Stupid chat always goes down. Okay, I'll make sure if you guys ask a question, just so I'll see it. So see how dark I'm getting right there? Just gonna get a little bit of that plant in there, negative painting, that little plant that's on the sill. And that's really dark right here. It's not like I'm establishing my darkest dark right there, but I'm trying to get pretty dark up this area. And then as I go down, it's going to get lightened up a little bit. Kind of a gray. And then this side here is a little dark, and just make a little bit of a line there for the framework of the window. I'm also going to get this side of the chair here right away. And see, the curtain is light, so I can just go right by that. And then we're going to go up to here, and then we're going to start getting a little bit warmer. I'm going to try to get some warm alizarin in there, some brown, purple. And so what I'm going to do is just establish a really nice dark. Put some black in there too, get really dark right now. And I'm going around this little plant life here. And it goes to this is all the way dark here. So let's just, and I can make it a middle tone too and come back with a darker dark later. And so let me just go across this and try to make the whole thing like a little warm gray. I'm just thinking about this whole area now. How can I make this whole area a middle tone? And that's actually bluer on top, so maybe add a little bit more blue on top here. Let's see. Bring it down. And there's only a couple things here that are going to be very white, and I'm trying to go around, but in this back wall here, some orange in it because it's reflecting from the fireplace. Just kind of going in there, getting this whole area. This is a one big area, right? It's a big area. I'm squinting my eye. I don't really see a lot of light in here, except for these pots and saucers and stuff on top of the mantelpiece here. That chair back there is dark. And this is not very dark yet, actually. And I'm just going to go right into this curtain here. And go right into the curtain over here because this is a dark part of the curtain a little bit. There's only a little bit light right here. The chair is going to be darker, so I can go right into the chair. Now hit a nice dark. And usually try to mix enough that you can go a little bit farther, or make sure there's a little bit left so that you can remix it again so you can get close to it. I remember putting some orange in there. I'm going around all this stuff here, and I kind of made up this chair that's sitting on the side of the fireplace here. Kind of made that up. And actually, side of this chair also is dark. I may have to put that chair in just with basically white paint or lighter. I could use masking fluid, but I don't use much of that anymore. And so I can go over it, just going over some of that. There's a shadow against the fireplace, which is a kind of a grayish green, looks like. I put a little bit of blue, like turquoise, in there to dull it down. A little shadow. I'm going to go around these legs, or not go around these legs, it's too hard. It's going to take me too long. See how it's a big area? There's a lot of stuff happening in that area, but just go for the big area. Try to figure out the big area and what's in there. A little bit of light shining there too, like on the wall here. And make it a neat wash. That's the reason you want to do a big wash, is that because it's easier to make big washes look kind of cool, and not as in temperature, but as in just it looks neat to have a really neat wash going on. Go around some of this stuff here. And this can be done with masking fluid. You put it on there, that way you can go right through stuff. And I would do that if I'm doing a bigger painting and not so fast. I would just put masking fluid there if I'm doing a big painting. There's a little bit of light shining across here with shadowing. And then we're going to go all the way out the edge because it's going to be darker there. A little bit of violet in there too, make it gray. Then there's the potted plants here, and they're darker. And there are a little bit of light hitting that, but don't worry about that. We're just going to go back to that later. So we're already getting the look of just big areas, right? Oh my leg is cramping up. All right, and so there's the wall. There's a wall right here, which is in back, but I'll put that in there later. Now down here, I have to. Let's see. I can go around. I can't go around the fireplace. So, I have to go around the fireplace. Is what I got to do, and so I can do parts of this later. So I'm going to do the inside of the fireplace later because that's just too much detail right now. I'm just going to kind of keep it going down. Let's get this part a little bit darker back here because this is going to be a little bit darker. And since it's on the edge, I want it to be not so hard edged. So just a little bit more pigment so that it's soft edged. Come down here, I'll make the side of the fireplace a little bit lighter, and it is kind of gray. And this down here is really dark, right? It's really dark right down here. So just get the color of that basket with a little bit of orange in there, maybe some red and brownish. I only have one brown, and that's a purple brown. It is a lone brown, and that's the only brown I really have. It's really easy to mix a brown and grays because you mix complements together. And orange and purple are a good way of getting brownish color. They're not complements, but purple, more blue purple. Let's see, what am I doing here? So this is all dark. But this right here, because the fireplace, I got to make it really orange because it's coming out of the fireplace and it's really nice and warm, everything right here. It's hot, and you want to make it look hot, like red and orange. And so I'm just going to slap a little bit of red and orange right there. Make it look warm. And even this shadow can be nice and warm right there. And then away from the shadow, or if there's a or dark shadow, I can put like a cool color there too. But the lightness of it and the intensity of the warmth can outdo the, how they say that when it's a warm light, it's cool shadow. But you can do that too a little bit. But I think the intensity of the fire should outweigh the other part. Or make a little bit of both. Put a little bit of both in there. Here, take a little bit of red. Yes, this is very challenging, Sherry. It's something I want to get really good at, is interiors, and I really like doing interiors, and so I'm just trying to show you guys. On Sunday mornings, it's usually not a paint along, it's just usually what I want to paint. And so I just want to show you how I paint like an interior. You can try it though. I mean, you can just stop the video, take a picture of a screenshot of the actual image, and then try it. This is just practice for me. This is basically, I'm practicing to try to get good at interiors. So here's some warmth. See how I'm going around? Boom, 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 boom. And I'm just going to come around this way, right up to there. And that'll be my middle tones and some of my darks. And then I'll get to when that's dry, I'll get to my detailed darks. Always the same when it comes to the BeckerArt 3-step. And it's always the 3 steps that I do. I don't change that. That's one thing I do not change. Because that's how I learned, and that's how I now teach it. I teach it that this is the way that I feel it works really, really well for me. Just some of this dark, well, I want soft edge over here, so I'm just going to get right to the darks. So I take the Mislone brown, some black, some Prussian blue, just make it really dark, some warmth maybe in there. It's pretty thick, and this is still a little wet right here, so I can go in and get some of this detailed dark while I'm getting my big areas of dark and light. It's still wet, so I'm still getting a look of soft edges, which is what I want. I don't want too many hard edges yet. If I get a few, that's fine, but I'm still looking more for soft edges. And learning how to control that edge when it's wet is very important to keep things soft edged. That's a good way of making things look unfocused, like out of focus. Like this area, if you don't know what's happening over here, just make it dark, and so that it looks out of focus, and you don't know actually what's happening there. Just make it a nice dark. And I don't want to have your eye come over here anyways. It's not that important over here, so I want it to be soft edged and blurry. Now to the carpeting, and then I'm going to get the shadow part in here right away, because there's shadow. Let's see. Where is it? It goes there. Boom, boom. Oops, I went a little bit too high, but that's okay. Let's just go like that. And then we'll do the line that's in the middle there. And then we got a line coming this way. It's from the window. The window is shining up over here. And then we got a big line coming through here. And that's all be dark. There's a bunch of stuff in there, but then again, you can do that for details later. Now let's go and start from this point, because this is really dark back here, right? But then it comes down, and these chair legs are lighter on the side. That's a little bit too dark for now. We're gonna darken it later for details. And then the carpeting goes to here. But then the carpeting is lighter with an orange down here. Go back up here. And let's just do this part of the, there's a little throw rug, or what, not throw rug, a throw blanket. And so all this stuff will be darker over here, so I can just put a middle tone here now for now. Just do a middle tone. Middle tone meaning that it's not my darkest dark yet. It's just kind of the color that's going to be there, but then I just make sure that's the middle tone so that when I put my dark in there, there's still room for getting darker. Underneath the chair is a little bit lighter for the background, so we'll do that a little bit lighter here. And then we get another patch of light right here. Now I'm going to get a little bit of this cool color down here, because that's the fun thing about this picture, is see that little bit of light down here coming from the window? I love that look of having a little bit of light coming through there. You know, that's like going to be a cool color on the brown floor. The wood floor is brown, but because it's shiny and reflective, it will reflect like water. It will reflect what's up above it, and so you're going to reflect that of the window there. Even with the chair a little bit. And then the darker part goes to a darker brown again. And there's so many different browns and stuff. You just, like I said, even black and orange is a good brown. You know, people get so, you know, when they've been taught not to use black at all, I find it to really be helpful for a lot of things. It's good to learn how to mix your blacks. It is really good, but I found that students have a hard time with it sometimes, and if you're getting frustrated and you stop painting because you're just not getting things, that I find that to be a bad thing too. So I'd rather you get neat and interesting things happening to you right away, and using black, like there's black, there's orange. Look at how instantly that becomes a brown. Or you can make a lot of different colors with those 5 colors, and 2 of them being white and black, but red, blue, and yellow basically are the primaries, and then mix black and white with them. You can get a lot of different colors in there. And this again is middle tone. This is middle tone. I'm going up here. I'm going to try to get a little bit more cooler than actually even the picture is. I'd like to be a little bit cooler than the picture. And there's a really dark there to show that this is a radiator. And then I'm going to go right into the curtain here, the sheer curtain. So let's just, I don't want to see the bottom, exactly where the bottom stops and where it ends. Get a little bit of coffee here. Cheers, guys. So any questions? This looks so challenging. All right. Look at this little bit of blue. Isn't that great? I love that. Set it straight here. Okay. Get something really dark. Let's go with a little bit smaller brush to get the, now we're into our pretty much our details, right? We're getting into our details. Let me do the side here, and now we're going to go right into the fireplace and do the fire. Let me just do this nice dark right here. This also shows what this this radiator, by the up and down of the brushwork. I'm just making it look like a radiator. And then there's a little bit lighter for the sill. Alright, so let's go into the fire. And the fire is basically, it goes from white to yellow to orange to red to dark. And so it's very much a spectrum of like a very warm light. And so I'm going to start with the yellow. So I'm just going to dip right into yellow and leave the white of the paper. And it looks like the outer edges of things that are going to be the flames and stuff. So I leave the inner part of the flames white, and then just do all around with yellow first. Keep a lot of it white because that's the intensity of the fire, is how white it is in there. And then I'm going to go with my smaller round brush to kind of do little details of yellow, then the orange, a brighter orange, like a yellow orange. Now I'll let that blend into some parts of the yellow. It's a dirty yellow. So I take a little bit of the dirtiness off my orange and just go back in and get some really clean orange. Meet Darcy from Kansas. Now we go to I like to go to the sepia, like a burnt sienna. So I go to like a burnt sienna and maybe put a little red in there too. But it goes pretty quickly from the orange to the red to the sepia or the burnt sienna kind of color. And then of course we're going to do it bigger when we get out here. And it gets all the way to black almost. It gets to really dark. And it's darker than this edge here, so I'm just going to take it up. First I'm going around it again, getting all the little things. And when it's dry, I'm going to go even with even smaller hard edges. Right now I'm getting the big parts of this too. I'm going to go into my imidazolone brown, which is a purple brown, and just put that in there really dark. It's a really dark brown, but it's kind of purpley brown. More like a dark purple almost. And then it stops here, kind of goes this direction. And then bring it down, let it float in the water so you can get a nice soft edge. I'm definitely really into soft edges lately, and just really trying to show everybody in watercolor, if you're doing watercolor, to learn how to control your pigment. It's so important to learn to control that pigment and being able to, have a line that's soft edged in your work. So we can go down a bit farther. Then there's the logs in the fire here. Just gonna put them in here and there. I put a grate in here, and I also put these little metal things in front that most fireplaces had that didn't have it there. So I'm putting things in that are not even there, but if you've been in front of a fireplace, a lot of times they have these little, don't know what they call them, but they're like little metal things that hold the logs in place so they don't roll out. And then we're going to make our dark on the edge here. And I know this is too bright right now, but I'm not going to deal with that until these edges are dry, because I'm going to keep these edges a little bit hard. There's a nice hard edge right here. Put a little shadow. These shadows are warm because they're right next to the fireplace, and so I want to keep them warm. Alright, let's go to the, let's go do this big area right here. How much time do I have? I'm spending a lot of time, it seems like. Let's do our darks up there now. And so I'm just going to take this, and it's dry up here, so I'm going to get this wall kind of going up here. There's a wall behind. And I'm wetting it as I go along. I didn't wet first. I have a pretty wet brush with a lot of pigment in it. So I just put that down. But then I want this to kind of bleed into this area. And there's a little bit of some kind of framing of a plant holder here up here. So I don't have to make that too visible, like the hard edge there. Actually, there's no hard edge there, you can see. So I'm just going to make it dark. Since it is the background there, let's put a little coolness to it too, why not? So I do want to get a bigger brush, and then what I'm going to do is just blend it into this color that I already have there. Because I don't want it to be too different up down here. Just up there I wanted to have it nice and dark. Over here we can make it nice and dark too. Also. Here's a little bit of a chair back here. See, it's my dark details now, and sometimes the details are still a big area. It's just shining out there a little bit. Now I can do the edge of this chair, which is a little bit round thing here, so I'm just going to get that in there. By doing the background dark, I'm just using a little bit of black. And then at the same time, this is really dark right here. Watch this, and now my legs are going to come out of this little stool. Let's make this a stool instead of a chair. I'm just going to paint around, negative paint around the legs. Down to the... And here I'm going to go opposite. I'm going to go down to the edge of that, of the front of the fireplace. There's a little bit of a shadow through here. Details, right? See, I'm doing all these little details now, and bottom of the chair can be a little bit warmer. Again, these legs can be warmer on the edges because they're by the fireplace. And then we're going to juxtaposition of light to dark. And down here we're going to make them dark, the legs, compared to the light. And then we'll throw a shadow on them. Then there's a frame back here with a little painting, and so I'll just do the inside of the painting dark, and then I'll do that later when it's dry. I'll put a little tint across that. And then these are going to be plants. These are going to be leaves that are coming down there. On the wall there's a bunch of stuff happening there, but I'm not sure if I'm going to put that in there. So now let's get some of this greenery. This is a dark green I mixed with ultramarine blue and cornicum gold. I just take gold and blue and just get your greens. I'm going to make this one of those little puffy little plants. Then there are a couple of little plants coming down here. Parts of this are still wet, so you're going to get soft edged, which is good. I'm going to do the bottom of that. Let's do the darkness of these frame parts now. See, my first wash is a little bit too light. I should have made it a little bit darker. So this can be like a middle tone too. You pick up back on the darkness of the frame. A little bit darker because the lights are kind of bright, but let's make them a little bit darker. And I'm not sure, the painting looks like a portrait or maybe like an icon thing. But let's make it like a portrait. So go really dark on the edges. I'm going to fake this in a little bit. Here's the face, maybe. It's shining around the head. Well, now that doesn't look anything like a portrait, but let's see. Let's go with a really dark for the shadow of the frame on the wall. And on the bottom there's a shadow. I'm just making it really dark. I'm going to take my bigger brush and blend that with water. Just take water and blend it into the background. Should all be a little bit darker up there. So let's make this a little bit darker. When something is wet, don't be afraid of being able to spill some pigment into it. Put some pigment, drop some pigment into it, and it will just soften itself. As long as it's wet, it will soften itself. You don't need to blend with watercolor. You just put water down and then just watch it blend itself. It will just basically go in and blend itself nice and smooth. Now let's put some nice shadowing on some of this, whatever this is on top. There's a lot on this mantelpiece. So I'm going to put some color in there. Just because it's a bunch of pottery and a bunch of silvery things and some blue stuff. I keep on forgetting to use a little bit more turquoise because I really like turquoise color. So that's my third favorite color. I've got purple as the first favorite color. Then I've got orange second. And I think now it's turquoise with the third. Okay, so there we have our middle tones to show. Let's get some dark green again. So Crack'em Gold, a dark blue. And there's a little bunch of plants right here, so I'm just going to kind of tap on there. Do the BeckerArt nervous twitch. If you're nervous, this is great. See, you just twitch and you just put it on there. There's some plant life up there. Maybe some darks up here now too, because then you're going to get the dark parts. With that, I'm going to get the brown, the midazoline brown. So just do the shape of maybe a handle of the teapot or teacup. Some shadows. Here's a little, looks like a candle holder. That's just a shadow on the wall. Now we can go in here and get the really dark shadow underneath here. Some of the texture, architectural elements of the fireplace. You can just kind of use brickwork. I like, you can see, I like going in a circle, kind of like in a path to do these things. Well, since I got this green right out here, why not just put some of this ivy coming down here? Looks just like, again, little ivy type of. Use my rigger brush when you want little small lines. Again, I use Prussian blue. Oh, that was purple. Prussian blue's right here. A little bit of Crack'em Gold. That'll make me a really dark green. Now first do the little vine of the ivy, real thin. And then I'll put little leaves on it all over here. Figure a way of like pushing down on your brush to make it look like a leaf. It's a little bit too much, huh? Oh well. A little bit too much. That's okay. Since I got it in my hand right here, I'm just going to go really quickly over here. Where else do I need some of this color? So there's a bunch of dark brown. Here's light red, which is like a burnt sienna. These little things of wood in this little pile thing here. This is a basket that needs to look like it's got some texture to it, so let's just put some texture on there real quick. Underneath, a nice dark. And These lines are not straight, so let me go back in here and straighten these out a little bit. Make this really dark. Again with my bigger brush. Bigger brush for big areas. Don't use small brushes for big areas. Go straight down. Small little lines for the architectural look. Inside the fireplace real quickly. Ooh, somebody must have said something because my thing went away. Hey Maria, good morning. And now let's do the inside of the fireplace real quick. And so we're going with a light orange here. Going with a nice, ooh, that's a dirty orange. So just kind of get in there with an orange. And see how by leaving it dark or dry now I can go over those parts and it won't matter. And I can get darker up here. And it's sparkling, right? So you have a little bit of a sparkle of light in that area. And I'll put, when it's dry, I'll put the lines in for the brickwork. There's a couple of darks up here, which I don't know what they are actually. This is like little things on the wall. Remember I said I was going to go over this frame afterwards? Let's do it right now. Actually, too early, but oh well. Have to hurry here. So we're running out of time. Only got 15 minutes. All right, let's see. Let's go to the chair. I think this stuff is really looking really nice over here. I like this. And the edge of the rug starts right here, so I'm going to get really dark right there. The edge of the rug. And there's a shadow underneath this chair. It kind of goes right along the edge of the carpeting. And kind of goes here, the shadow of the window again. Let's soften that with water. People find interiors to be really hard because there's so much a lot of times in them. You know, our houses are filled with all our junk, especially mine is. But you know, you just simplify things. You take it and simplify, like I've done through this painting. Is you simplify large areas, and you can get the small stuff, but you can just gesture at them. You know, just put a little bit to them. And look at that. Doesn't that look like a wet, like a shiny floor? Simplify, simplify, simplify. It's just one of those things you have to do in a large pattern of lights and darks. You know, no matter how much stuff you have in there, if it's a city street scene, if it, whatever it is, if there's a lot in it, then you have to simplify it to big, large shapes. Like that was all a big, dark shape, right? I did have to go around some of the small things, but, you know, it's just, all overall, that's just a light area, but then all around it is a dark area. So just think of where the big, dark areas are, where the big, light areas are at. And that gives you a path, right? It tells you you're doing your lights first, so get them like I did, all the lights first, and then you get down to the middle tones, the big middle tones. And the dark details also kind of correspond with just doing the detail darks. You can kind of get them both together. Sometimes you can separate them, you know, but sometimes you just put them together all at the same time. And with watercolor, you have to kind of just try to get the washes done in the first wash. You know, the best part is trying to get it done at the first wash, not coming back in second, third, fourth, fifth time. You want to try to get everything done like right away. Let's go into this chair. Getting this pots back behind the window. Let's make that one dark even though it isn't. Now that chair is pretty dark, right? I mean, it's pretty dark, and so I'm just going to leave a little bit of the edge light, and I'm just going to go in here with a dark, and then it gets a little bit lighter right here. Then the outer edge of this chair is hard-edged, and it kind of is really dark. So I'm darkening with a lot of pigment, but then I'm going to put a lot of water in there, and I'm going to sculpt it into not just that one color. I will put other colors in there, like the window is, again, it's cool, so I'm going to take a cool color and just put it into the dark. That'll be soft right there. That'll be cool color. And it's mixing with a warm color, so it's going to be a little bit of, both of the things. And right on the edge of where the light hits, it's also a little cooler. I'm going to get a really dark over here. And look, the edge is light. And then there's the frilly parts of this pillow. I'm not going to make it frilly, I'm just going to make it straight down to the blanket. Over the edge for the pillow. And then the chair head looks like it has these little, it's like a wicker chair actually. It's kind of weird, the arm, like the padding's out, so I'm going to make it not look like that though. I'm going to make it look like it's filled. So a little bit of orange in here, just because it's kind of looking towards the fireplace. The lines. Now I'm going to do the pillow and the side. Let's do the side then. Let's get the pillows done first here now. I'm going to start with orange on the edge here. It's definitely orange on the edge. And of course I went into my dark, so it's going to blend in there. That's okay. We'll just go across like this and go from orange to a little bit of violet. Put the violet and orange together. Be a little bit grayer over here. And then, I know it looks really too orange, but that's okay because I want it to look a little bit more orange than it is because of the fire. And if I can just get some of that looking like really nice and warm. I want this to look cozy. I want this scene to look very cozy. Like you want to sit here and read a book or do a sketch. Here's another. I made that pillow, even though I'm not sure what that is in there. It looks like it's maybe another pillow that was just scrunched in there or part of the. So I'm gonna make that the same color as the top here and just make this a little bit darker. A little bit of yellow orange on the side. Now this gets dark really quickly right here, and so I'm going to take some of that orange and maybe actually some of the purple. And actually in the picture it's very brown. It's very dark. It's very purpley. So that maybe we just do that. We make it nice and purpley. Come down, and it's kind of hard to see what's in here, so make it look out of focus that way. Here I'm going to do the bottom of the chair, and this has little fringes on this thing, so I'm just going to put little fringes by negative painting the fringes by dark behind it. This is good to do as a nervous twitch again. A little shadowing. Side of the leg, and the cross member here I just put in there. The cross beam that's going back, the leg itself. This leg kind of got wet, so now let's do the radiator. The dark's in the radiator. So there's a dark right here. Dark, dark, dark. Okay, kind of messed it up a little bit, but that's okay. It's a little bit darker behind here. There's going to be shadows from this plant against the wall and also onto the curtain. And there's the darker green in the windows. Gotta hurry up here. Get some of this green in there. The detail makes things start and look so much nicer, right? I mean, it starts showing objects and what they are and areas that are out of focus. So everything comes together when you start putting in these darks. And the radiator is a lot darker behind here, so I'm going to take, once that dries, I'm going to put a little wash over it. And same thing, look at my lights that were going to be part of the shadowing, now are gone, so I'm going to do them again. Because this is darker than the outside, so watch this. So I'm going to put a little bit of the shadows back in, but just a little bit darker this time. I had nothing to generate or to compare them to. because everything was light, and so now I can compare with my darks and my lights, and so I can put a little bit more dark in here. And then this curtain has another curtain next to it, like which is very orangey, so I'm just going to put that in there, cover up some of that mistake I made. The mantle underneath is no color, everything's right, so I'm going to make that a little bit orangey, wood-like. So you shouldn't have a lot of like perfectly white in there, so the white really stands out, so I have to have it in the window, down here, and the floor is kind of nice. Now let's do the bricks on the fireplace real quickly. How much time do I have here? 4 minutes. Okay, let's get this in here. Get that. This part of the fireplace is really, really dark again, so I'm gonna get the contrast going here first. A bit wetter so that I get a soft edge. And then I'm gonna put in the brickwork of it right away. Brickwork in here real quick. Shadow there. This whole thing is in shadow, so let's just take a little bit of a tint and put this up, throw this in the shadow. This is not, a lot of this is not into the light part. A little bit of the painting on the wall here. I think I'm gonna have to put the purple on the opposite side because I get this. Nice thing is I can do that now with my palette. I haven't gotten totally used to it yet, so I kind of always misplace where my purple is and where my blue, dark blue is. Alright, remember I said I was going to put a little wash over that whole thing? I'm going to take my 1/2 inch flat and put a little bit of a tint, meaning a lot of water, just a little bit of pigment, and just put it right over this area. So it looks like there's lights coming from outside, and there's also, and this is a little bit bright. Let's put a little bit on there. Finally, I'm going to do a little bit of this little plant in the window has a lot of little stems, and I'm going to make it all the same values, all the same color over here, because I want this to not stand out with really high contrast, and so I'm just going to put this same little purpley blue. One minute, I got it. Real quick. Alright. I think that looks like about it, right guys? I don't think there's much more in here. This is nice and dark and a little orange there. The back leg, the shadow underneath the chair should be a little bit more. Maybe lines for the flooring. is it. I didn't put any white paint in there, which I could, but I think we've got a nice amount of light in there anyways, and so I think I'm just going to leave it as is, right there. So don't be afraid of doing interiors. Don't be afraid of doing even it could be anything interior or it's looking like where it's a lot of things happening in there, and just simplify it. Simplify it to a point where it makes large areas, so it makes it easier for you to paint. I mean, I couldn't do this if I'm doing every little object, and making every little thing look exactly like the photo, So I kind of simplify everything so that you just see the big parts of things. So there you have it. Darken there. Let's see. Okay, that's it. Thanks, guys. Thanks for stopping by on this Sunday morning. And have a happy Thanksgiving. There will be no paint along this week on Thursday. And so spend time with the family, get out there, and have a great, happy Thanksgiving. Bye-bye.